Okay, now what I'd like to do is show you how simple it is for you to enter a new client walking through the door by creating a new folder, pulling in a settings file, making a few subtle changes for that particular client, and getting to the training screen and ready to go. Okay, so it's going to be very simple. And what we're going to do is, again, we're going to focus on a Z-score training protocol. But let's go ahead and get started. So basically, as I go back and I've opened my software, so I'm to my initial brain avatar setup screen. Okay, and we see that. My first step is going to be folder selections. Okay, I'm going to click on folder selections. I'm going to go create new folder. And again, I'm going to use Bill, but I'm going to go test. I'm going to go 33. So it's a new file. Okay, this is a new client walking through your door. I hit OK. I go ahead and say create and select settings. So as I do that, I'm going to see a whole lister library. Okay, again, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go ahead and grab Z-scores using PZOK. And I'm actually going to go grab the one right below it that says Z-scores using PZOK-UL, or upper lower. I'll click it once. I'll hit open. It'll take me to my editing the demographics for trainee study window. I simply can put the age of the client in. Have my gender correct. Whether their eyes are open or closed. We're going to say gold electrodes. Okay, and then I can simply hit save and continue. Now from there, I go to settings. I notice that it already has number of channels 4. Okay, I notice that it's C3, C4, P3. We see a little mistake there, so let's go ahead and go data channels, electro and trainee study. And the reason I did this specifically is so that you get used to always double checking. Make sure it's what you expect, because anytime we're doing Z-score training, it is age specific, site specific, so we have to make sure that data is correct. We hit use these settings. Okay, so I can go back to settings. Okay. Now as we get back, we now see C3, C4, P3, P4. We look at our frequency bands. Because it's Z-score training, we don't have to make any changes there. We see that our goes and stops, we have none there. We don't have to worry about that, because again, this is Event Wizard driven, where we do see under sounds event wizards. But let's go ahead and again make a change in our session control. Okay, we want to change my baseline to 30 seconds. Number of sessions, you never want to leave 0 in there, because if you do, it's going to continue to record over that first session, and we want to be able to save our data. Okay, we are going to leave for this exercise, I'm going to leave it on simulation, but again, for your clients, you will want to make sure that's on training. Okay, and I hit use these settings. Okay, I can then go to the Event Wizard. This is the first time you're taking a quick glance at it, but we see that our %ZOK is all pre-built for us. It's all in there. The only thing here you may want to adjust, and it's going to be by choice, is the sound. I'm going to leave it alone for now, but we can see we have a lot of different MIDI sound properties that we can play with. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and hit exit. Now from that point, we're on our training screen. Okay? So from here, we see our training channels. C3, C4, P3, P4. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit go. As I hit go, it's going to say unable to open COM port because I do not have a device plugged in. However, I have it on simulation. So I hit yes. It's going to say ready to start. replace EEG cap. That's because I happen to be using Discovery, but it would be electrodes for your Atlantis users. I hit OK. It asks me initializing Z-score training, age of the client, their eyes are open, the sites that we have selected, C3, C4, P3, P4, making sure, again, you don't want to go real fast through these screens. It's important that this information is correct. So I hit yes. It then tells me simulation is running. So I see to start session, hit OK. So I click OK and I see my filtered waveforms. Okay. Now, if I was looking at, this is a 19 channel Discovery, and we see all the different channels being acquired. Now with Discovery I could also just acquire the 4. But this will show you one additional option of having a Discovery where I can be recording all 19 even though I'm simply training on 4. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about the training screen for the new Brain Avatar software. Some really cool advantages. You have some tabs along the bottom, and we see tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, and these are you can actually modify and name the tab, put your terms on the tab, and that's shown in a different video segment for the screen editing. But if I click on tab 2, I get to see the example of our head display again. Okay, just showing you the example of the display. Tab 3 shows me my Z-score training window, and this is showing me the threshold, or that C key, that the C key adjusts. The white line represents the number of Z-scores that are falling within the range of plus or minus the specific standard deviation that we set. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. These are an example of some flat maps, but I'm just giving you examples of different tabs of what you can have on the display for you. Okay, again, we also have a little text stats giving us again the definition of the protocol. %ZOK greater than CT is that green line I just showed you on that previous screen. Up or low, right now we have it set 2.0 standard deviations to -2.0. Those are adjustable pretty simply. These are all keystroke adjustments. So for instance, if I'm on this x equals u third, that's the U key. It tells you right here, U key is the adjustment. So as you watch this screen, as I hit Shift U, notice how I can bring that down. Okay, and let's say I take it to 1 standard deviation, and above it the G, which is the negative, let's say I go Shift G, and you see I bring that to -1.0. Okay, so now instead of having 2 standard deviation to -2 standard deviation, it's 1 to 1. Okay, so very simple to make that adjustment. And then if I look at my other tab, I see here's the point where, look at, obviously less Z-scores. Now again, remembering that this is a simulation, less Z-scores can fall within the range of ±1. Then we're at ±2. We were up at this green line before. Okay, but I can simply adjust that green line by going Shift C. See how it starts coming down? And then here we are, and as I continue to hit the Shift C, I can bring it right down to meet that white line. Okay,